What's going on, everybody? So today your boy wanted to talk about why Hispanic Heritage Month, Indigenous Peoples Day, and Christopher Columbus Day need to all go in the trash. Okay, so I know that this is gonna rub some people the wrong way, especially a lot of the virtue signaling crowd and a lot of other people. But in any case, I feel like I gotta talk about it. I'm not against holiday or celebrations in general per se, but I do find myself not quite agreeing with a lot of the reason why people celebrate holidays, or just adding significance to certain things that should kind of just be like general. You should appreciate these things all the time, if they matter to you. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm against any kind of celebration or holiday, but I feel like we need to kind of evaluate, why are we celebrating this particular thing on this particular day, and what is the impact of that in the modern sense. Moving forward, we're gonna go ahead and start off with Columbus Day. Okay, so first of all, I think it's kind of general knowledge now that Columbus didn't actually discover America. Whatever, there was people already here. We already know that. So the reason why Columbus Day is celebrated, or at least was celebrated, I don't know. I don't know where it is right now. It's kind of floating somewhere. But anyway, the reason why Columbus Day is celebrated is because Columbus discovered and established what would become the Western world, right? But what people fail to acknowledge is that they look at it through the sense that this is like the first European, person or expedition to come to this side of the world. This is completely false. We have many a Viking that came here to the Americas. There's evidence suggesting that the Vikings had made it all the way to Greenland, where they met the Inuit people, into Vinland, to Newfoundland, what we consider the northeast coast of America or Canada. And there is even some suggestion that the Vikings even made it to Mexico. So Columbus wasn't the first European to come to this side of the world. Also, the man that America is named after, Amerigo Vespucci, was a European man that came from the more post-Renaissance era Europe, and he made it over here. So again, what is the significance of celebrating this guy Columbus? Because technically what he did wasn't something new, and it wasn't something that people thought was unheard of at the time. The only thing that really changed his experience from the others is that he went there to plant a flag for a country that paid for his trip, and basically led to massive genocide, enslavement, exploitation, all that other stuff. All the good roots of Western civilization. Taking that into consideration, Columbus didn't do nothing that special, for being honest. Okay. Not only that, guy was not that great of a person. I mean, he kind of sold my people out extremely, horrifically, gruesomely. Somewhat vouched for them originally when he was talking to the Queen, saying, these are strong people. They have like all these cultural norms and all these things. And basically the Queen and, the government of Spain and Portugal was like, okay, are they Christian? Once that was confirmed that they weren't Christians, you already know what happened. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, that's plenty of reason, I think, for the illegitimacy of Columbus Day. Now let's move on to Indigenous Peoples Day. Okay, so Indigenous Peoples Day. Here's the problem with Indigenous Peoples Day. We start to dive into the same problem that we see with Black History Month. And I have already made a video about Black History Month, but we're going to bring up the same talking points for Indigenous Peoples Day. This is a disrespect. Now, let me say that it is a disrespect because it only exists for the purpose of some virtuous acknowledgement, okay? And I understand the reasoning why it's on the same day as Columbus Day, right? This is kind of like a FU to Columbus. This is what we need to celebrate instead of Columbus. Okay, how about we don't do neither? Because, let me explain, because again, like I said, when it comes to Black History Month, when we talk about Indigenous People Day, we are subsidizing and closing down, you know, the importance or the cultural reverence of Indigenous people to one day. Okay, now if you're an Indigenous person or descendant of Indigenous people, you should be proud of that, and you should live that. You know, you should live for your ancestors every single day of your life. But the problem with declaring a day for that is that, okay, some people will say raising awareness, but what are we raising awareness for? Colonization already happened, and most of us died. You know, it sounds terrible. I know it's very terrible, but colonization in itself is not happening anymore. That battle is lost. So whatever awareness you're raising in, you know, that aspect is kind of, it doesn't really make sense, doesn't add up with the time. Now don't get me wrong, there are many neo-colonial things that are still happening today, that people are still suffering from today. I think the greatest example is the cattle industry and logging industry in the Amazon, and how those indigenous people are literally fighting a war every single day to stop the encroachment of the Amazon for cow farms and for, you know, their logging industry. And this is the sad reality about these kind of situations. If people really cared, they would take the time out of their day to look into these things themselves and to educate themselves on their own time. Now, that sounds very pessimistic, but at the end of the day, it's better to have people that go into it with genuine knowledge and intention to fix those problems and to learn the culture, learn the history, all of that, than have everybody virtue signaling and posting stuff on Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day, but that's not helping out, you know, these situations. And, you know, it can come off as very disingenuous. And I hate virtue. I hate virtue signaling. So I don't want to be a part of that. You know, I wear my ancestors, you know, with me. They're with me every day. You know, I live that life. I don't reject them at any time. I think about them all the time, and I carry them in their thought process, and, you know, whatever is left of, you know, what once was, I carry that with me every single day. So that's how we should look at that. You know, if you are indigenous, good for you. Be proud of that every single day. Love yourself, love your heritage, all of that. And if people from other cultures and other places want to learn about indigenous people and all of that, I think that they should go into it with a genuine, you know, a genuine mindset, and they really want to learn, you know, see the similarities across cultures and all these things. And I think that's beautiful. That's something that I like to do. I like to draw the lines in, you know, all indigenous people from all around the world, and all these tribal customs and religions and all these things. You can draw so many lines and comparisons from this people to that people on the other side of the planet, and it's an amazing thing. I think that if people go into it with that kind of mindset, you know, and apply that to their everyday life, that's a good way to look at something along the lines of what Indigenous Day tries to accomplish. But in any case, let's go ahead and bring it full circle. Let's kill the biggest monster now. So the big bad at the end of the tunnel is Hispanic Heritage Month. Let me start off by saying that Hispanic itself, that word has not existed for as long as you think it has. And the reason why that is because most of these countries haven't existed past 600 years ago. This is a relatively new term when it comes to history and language. And literally all that it means is that you come from a place where Spanish is the predominant language. So technically speaking, then, if by that logic everyone that comes from a country that's original language is Spanish is a race, then by that same definition, Guyana, Jamaica, the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, all of you are English. By your own logic, you're all English. So same thing when you say, oh yeah, like you're all Spanish, Cuban and Peruvian, they're all Spanish. What people have to understand is that one, most of Latin America still has a significant indigenous population. They also have a significant African population. As a matter of fact, there's more black people in South America than there is in the United States and all of North America. So again, we can't really consider this race or ethnic, historical ethnic group. So therefore, it doesn't really make sense when we talk about Hispanic Heritage Month. What does that mean? The only thing that it could mean is, like I said, these countries only existed for a few hundred years, and you know how they started? From colonialism, slavery, and mass genocide. So if we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, it's really, just celebrating. If we look at the length of the word itself, as far as how long it's been here and its origins, then it's just a celebration of colonialism in Meso and South America, in countries that speak predominantly Spanish. That is insane. And it's really backwards. It's just so self-detrimental. On top of the celebration of the success of colonialism and enslavement and mass genocide and all these things that happened in these so-called, Hispanic countries. So, yeah. Hispanic Heritage Month debunked, thrown in the trash, bye-bye. Okay. It's quite simple to understand, just takes a little bit of research, a little bit of comprehension. I don't think a lot of people are there yet, but we'll get there one day. Okay. I think nowadays it's becoming a little more apparent. We have like a lot of Afro Latinos starting to kind of separate themselves from the traditional what people consider Hispanic mindset. You also have a lot of indigenous people from Mexico and Colombia and many countries in South America and Mesoamerica that are also kind of separating themselves from that notion, because they still take pride in their their genetic history, their heritage, their true heritage, right? Their indigenous heritage, their African heritage. That's what they seek. Their pride and their understanding of themselves is through that, not through Hispanidad or Hispanic Heritage Month. It's all bullshit. Throw all three of those in the trash. Like I said, come to Columbus Day, wasn't the first European to make it here, let alone not even the first European post-Renaissance Christian Europe to make it here. When it comes to Indigenous People Day, again, wear that with honor, wear it with pride every day if that's you. And if it's not you, then learn about it genuinely. Compare it to the culture that you to the cultures that you know about, cultures that pertain to you. Draw the lines, learn about people, learn about all the historical customs of the world, all that. Look at it through that lens. If we're talking about Hispanic heritage, that's just garbage. There's nothing good that comes from that. Just throw it all away, okay? But anyway, that's the video, y'all. I appreciate you for watching. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.